Welcome back to the channel. I've just been back from the recently concluded World of Safety and Security Expo, the WOSAS. So I'd like to give a special shout out to my wonderful audience during my talk at the WOSAS, and I'd like to thank the organizers, World Bex, the WOSAS team, sina Ma'am Wendy, and a special shout out to Mr. Eric Yam for having chosen me to be one among his pool of speakers. So, napasabay tayo sa medyo mga batikang speaker talaga. Yung mga totoong expert. Hamak lang tayo na EDC enthusiast. Speaking of EDC and the WOSAS, I had an interesting thought right after the lecture, and basically people were asking what they should EDC, and aside from the what they should EDC, I guess I'd like to talk about why I actually EDC some items. First, let's get on to the first question. My basic principle for EDC, or for my everyday carry system, is just 3 items. First is a cutting tool or something to cut with. Second is something to light with. And third is something to tinker with or something to fix things with. Going by that simple rule, I would most likely have a knife, either as a folder or a Swiss Army knife. And then I would have both a cutting tool and a fixing tool with a Swiss Army knife, because I hardly ever carry a multi-tool. So yung multi-tool na meron ako is dedicated to my survival kit. So the next item would simply be something to light with. And if you're getting into the EDC hobby or the EDC practice for the first time, sa totoo lang, medyo mahal ang mga gamit. But you can get by with very simple items. A cutting tool can be anything from a pair of scissors to... I would recommend basically having a good pair of scissors like these mini trauma shears that I have on me. For those familiar with the channel, ito yung dala-dala ko sa Corimao. And it's a very good cutting tool. It will cost you something like 150 pesos if you buy it online, and maybe less if you buy it dun sa Bambang, sa bilihan ng medical supplies. So this particular cutting tool is serrated. It will cut anything from paracord, cardboard boxes, and small gauge wire. So napaka-useful ng gunting as a cutting tool. Now, for everything else, I have an updated keyring. Nilagyan ko lang siya ng aking lollipop. And those who are familiar with the lollipop, this is a simple get-off-me tool. Medyo matigas tong lollipop na to, kahit nagawa lang siya purely out of paracord. And like I showed you the last time, it has a small cutting tool in it. And I simply added my Leatherman bruiser, which if you've seen my previous videos, aside from being a small pry bar cap lifter, this will also take hex bits, and most of all, I use it as something to open pin-type oxygen regulators. So yun yung pinaka silbi niya talaga sa akin. So my keyring by itself is somehow a good multi-tool arrangement. So even if I had just this on me, I somehow have very basic tools on me that might help me get by most everyday situations. So yung mga pagputol ng string or cutting open packages, letters, and tape, whatever. So I have cutting tools, I have a pry bar, and something to open beer bottles with. Importante yun eh. Emergency yun pag wala kang pambukas ng beer or ng soft drinks, diba? So, there you go. So, maybe the next question would be, where do I get these things? I would suggest that if you're getting into this for the first time, I would suggest to look into the hardware stores or even sa palengke, sa bookstores, because you might be able to find something like a folding pair of scissors, or you can go to Divisoria, dun sa mga specialty shops where they sell items na kakaiba. And there are several EDC stores there, or stuff you can bring with you every day: folding scissors, small utility cutters, etc. That's where you also can buy affordable flashlights. Meron yung mga, okay, as an example, this item is something that you can get sa Divisoria. So meron na siyang flashlight, and on the other end is a whistle. Nakuha ko lang to as a giveaway, but one other use for this is, if you can see, there's a strike bezel on the flashlight itself, and this would be a very good impact tool, or something that you can use to get an aggressor off you. So kumbaga, self-defense tool. I'm sure it's very cheap, it's very affordable, and it's innovative. It combines 3 basic functions. You have a light, you have a whistle, and you have some sort of an impact device. So your EDC can be something as simple as this. It doesn't have to be quite expensive, kagaya nung syempre yung mga gadgets ko. Like this Solar Force flashlight, I bought this, like, it would be 14 years to the day. I've had this for the last 14 years. So, syempre, matibay, pero mahal. It's one of those things that, you buy once and forget about it. I've had this for so long na naging part na siya ng buhay ko. It's hard to imagine myself without a good flashlight. Maybe not this one, but I always have a good flashlight on me. And like I said, huwag kayong bibili ng flashlight na sobrang lakas, because high-powered flashlights will drain your batteries quite easily. So yun lang naman yung simple truth behind it. And next, pag-usapan natin why I EDC certain items. Like, let's start with the flashlight since we're here. One of the reasons why I carry a flashlight, and these are reasons that have nothing to do with the tactical or the EDC concept as we all know it, but simply, this is a concept that's echoed by another YouTube creator, Moorlander EDC. Special shout out to you, because you featured something about the wrist compass. And coincidentally, it's something that I've been doing for so long, and that is having on me a moral compass. So something that when I look at it, when I touch it, when I feel it, it gives me a sense of personal or spiritual direction. Now, the flashlight, yung biruan namin ng youngest daughter ko, because, they live away from me. So, when she was smaller, ang tanong niya sa akin, "Daddy, how do I know where you are?" And I told her, we were on the balcony of their apartment that time. And she was always fascinated with the flashlight beam. So, while we were there, I shone the beam upward. And I told her, kung saan nandun yung beam ng flashlight, nandun ang daddy mo. So, wherever I went, wherever I go now, if it's a new place that I've been to, and I did this while I was in Corimao, I shone this flashlight. I took a beam shot with this in Corimao, and it's just my commitment to my daughters that wherever I am, hopefully they could see where the beam is shining, and at the end of the beam, that's going to be me. That's one reason why I carry a flashlight, not only as a tool, it's also a moral compass for me. Another of my EDC items are these. This particular pair of dog tags, I've had this for more than 20 years. Was given to me by my brother. And again, my daughters know that I wear this, and the noise, the sound that this thing makes is something that they associate with me. So during the Typhoon Ondoy, when I was wading in waist deep water in pitch darkness, so that time madilim nun eh, lumulusong ako sa baha and papaliko na ako dun sa street kung saan nandun yung bahay nila. And dati kasi hindi pa nakatali ito, hindi siya nakagoma. So it was jingling, it was jangling. And in the darkness, I could hear my youngest daughter saying, si daddy nandyan na, si daddy dumating. And I could never forget that, which is why I hardly ever take these dog tags off. Because I know that the sound it makes will always tell my daughters that I'm there or daddy's around. So this is another item that's part of my permanent EDC. And lastly, there is the compass. In this case, a wrist compass. Basically, this Suunto Clipper compass is oriented towards where my children are. So whenever I change location, the coordinates also change, or the orientation of the compass also changes. So every time that I feel bluesy and medyo nalulumbay, if I feel myself losing my sense of spiritual direction, I usually look at the compass and I know that it's pointing towards my happiness anchor. It's pointing towards where my children are. So that's the significance of a wrist compass for me. Mainly, in case anything happens, I will follow this compass to where they are. So, yun lang naman yung simple significance ng compass na to. But just the same, it also serves as, it functions as giving me a sense of where the sun rises and sets whenever I'm planning an outdoor photo or video shoot. But more importantly, it's literally my moral compass. I hope these things will, or these tips will point you out to where you need to be, not only functionally but also spiritually and morally. So as you can see, my EDC items not only serve a functional or technical functional purpose, they also serve a spiritual and moral purpose for me personally. So hindi lang siya pang butingting or pangkat, pang ilaw. More importantly, it serves a moral compass for me. All of the items that I talked about, those 3 items that I talked about. So I don't know, I hope it helps you out in selecting your own EDC items. That's been the long and the short of it. This has been Abs Abando for Manila Sentinel. Raw, find your own moral compass.
Fox 5100, maintain runway heading, climb 3,000 feet, runway 13, clear for immediate takeoff.